Well, good afternoon. I'm still not used to making these videos live on Facebook. Sometimes they post, sometimes they do not, but this one here I thought is important. It's to discuss the collusion between Justin Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh. Um, it's a slap in the face to every Canadian in this country. Not only has Singh upheld and supported this corrupt government, these thieves of our freedom and thieves of our freedom to choose. Um, we no longer have politicians, if you want to use the word. We no longer have people that lead us. We no longer have people that represent us. Correction, they do lead us only down the wrong way, down the garden path, to use an old saying. And what you're watching, you may think does not affect you at this moment, but I could probably parade 1,000 people past this particular video who 2 years ago, 3 years ago would have said the same thing, that what the government is doing has no effect on me. And yet today they're the ones without work. They're the ones who are restricted, that they can't fly and they can't travel in and out of the country freely. There's a sense of madness going on in this country with the Chrystia Freelands and the Justin Trudeaus and the Tams and Ford at the provincial level and McKeon Moore. There's something grossly wrong. There's something inherently evil in what we're seeing. And evil is a pretty heavy word to use, but in this case, it fits. As a delegate to the convention in 2018, to the Doug Ford convention, there is really what it was. It wasn't a conservative convention. It was a Doug Ford and his yes men like Brian Patterson and the rest that uphold him. And that was really an eye-opener for me to see the level of corruption that took place at that convention. To watch a good man, Jim Carahalios, literally have the presidency of the association stolen away from him by ballot stuffing. Now to watch it at the federal level, to have been scrutineer at the elections in Durham region, and to see firsthand how they stole the vote. And they didn't do it with Dominion machines, and they didn't do it with mail-in ballots. They did it with fear, by instilling fear into groups of people, in particular immigrants, that were basically told that if conservatives gained power, that immigration would be stopped or slowed down, and their family members wouldn't be able to come to this country. So I watched them line up a half mile long outside where I was with their first time voting sheets in their hand. Many couldn't even speak English, but yet they were there. And I don't blame the immigrants. I mean, I was in a country and I was immigrating to it and told that, if I wanted my family to come over, I'd have to vote a certain way. I'm sure I probably would. It's not their fault. It's our fault. We had 11 million people that didn't vote. And we have a vast number of people that are totally uneducated when it comes to who to vote for. They vote for free money, and they vote for foolish things, really, that have no long-lasting effect on us. Meanwhile, in the Senate and in the House, they're passing bills like 233, which is the universal basic income. Now, some people might be getting excited looking at that, to think that they can have money and not work. Trust me, I've known lots of people like that in my lifetime. But there's a saying that goes like this: give a man something for nothing, and you rob him of his dignity. Work is a blessing. Work is something that people need to do to have self-respect. And the ones who can't work due to physical or mental instability are the ones who really need that money that now is going to be given away to healthy young people that'll just sit home and play on the computer and watch TV. It'll be money that should have gone to help the people in handicapped people, if you want to use that word, people that need the help, to provide institutions of learning for them, and special ed places, and there's a ton of things we can do. We can make lots of things more accessible to people with mental and physical disabilities. I'll give you an example. The Spitfire basketball team out of Toronto have to pay all their own expenses. I mean, myself and others, we buy T-shirts from them and we donate to them every year. But why should we? I mean, it's good, and I still will. But why doesn't the government help them? Now, a very important point here I want to discuss, and which again it all leads back to the Singh. And I was a Sikh, I'd be totally embarrassed that that man wears a turban, because that symbol of the Sikh religion normally is worn by men of integrity. It's worn by men of honesty and transparency and accountability, and men who have sweat. They know what it's like to labor hard to get to where they're at. They're good family men. I've done business and worked with many Sikhs, and they're good, down to earth, quality men. They work hard. They're good family men, good husbands, and good fathers. Yeah, they've got their, same as we do, they've got their factions that don't exactly follow those rules, but to have one that as a leader of the working man's party, and that is an affront to every individual in this country who believes that hard work is a good thing for the soul and a good thing for the country. And this Jagmeet Singh, same thing should be done with him as Aaron O'Toole, and toss his butt out of there before it's already pretty well destroyed the party. The party's going to go the way of Bob Rae and the Ontario party. It's just going to disappear for a while. It's going to lose status even when we're done with it. And just like Bob Rae did and parachuted into ambassador, I think it was to the United States, he went ambassador to the US or ambassador to UN. Jagmeet Singh will get some fat little paycheck in his fat little pocket, and the rest of the NDP, many of them are going to suffer the fallout from the decisions they're making now. But here's a major issue, and that is that let's drop that. The Liberal communist government in power ships hundreds of millions, billions of dollars overseas to third world countries, to warlords and to bullies in those countries who, it's like throwing a bone into a kennel of hungry dogs. They're going to fight and kill each other. And the strongest one is going to win. And that's the same thing goes on in these third world countries. We really, really are responsible for hurting and killing people. And it's an embarrassment to me and to this country that we have poor innocent people who are living in peace, and then all of a sudden we send 300 million or 400 million or $1 billion to that country. And all the bullies and all the warlords from that country and from surrounding countries come in and start gathering that money. We should never do that. If you want to help a third world country, you look at what its needs are. Let's say it's agricultural. Then you send resources in the way of tractors and manure spreaders, whatever you need, and you send personnel. You can send retired farmers, active farmers, whatever, to go over for 30, 60, 90, 100 days, 120 days, 6 months, whatever, to help people get established, to be able to grow food. You send the Army Corps of Engineers over and to help teach the local contractors how to do their jobs and to help them learn and do it properly and make money at the same time. And speaking of the Corps of Engineers, I work with the New Blue Party of Ontario with Jim and Melinda Garihalios. I'm the president of the Durham Region Electoral District Association. And what I want to see, and the New Blue will do it, is call in the Army Corps of Engineers into the reservations in Northern Ontario, have them supervised using local contractors, both on the res and off, and let them do the work and let them make the money. But to supervise the whatever we have to do, if we have to build a pipeline, 300 miles to bring fresh water, and then we need to do that. The fact that these families are denied access to clean, healthy water is an affront. It's a total disgrace to us people here in Canada, but especially in the world. We're an embarrassment at the federal and provincial government levels. And therefore, we have politicians doing politics, which both make bile rise up in my throat, where we should have leaders of integrity discussing important issues and putting solutions to situations. We have fools sitting in these seats, and that's exactly what Justin Trudeau is, and that's exactly what Doug Ford is. They're fools, and they don't like me calling that. That's too bad. I mean, the shoe fits, wear it, because only fools make the decisions they've made. Only fools follow the path that they're on. And for some reason, they really think that the Klaus Schwabs and the George Soroses and the World Economic Forum and everything is going to take over Canada. Yeah, you've got a pretty good grip on it, I must admit. Like if this was a fist fight, so to speak, I guess really you're holding your opponent by the testicles. But what you don't realize is that the opponent has more than enough tools in their toolbox to deal with this. And yeah, the pain will be for a little while, but we will deal with it and we will drive you out. If you were really smart, I would be booking my airplane flight, and we'll provide free flights for you when the time comes. We'll give you 72 hours to gather your families and to gather your what little you can carry with you and get on the plane, and then the planes are going to fly you out of Canada. You no longer deserve to live here. You no longer deserve to be on this land that was built by blood, sweat, and tears of our ancestors. And yeah, I'm sure you'll get a good chuckle out of all this, but and I'm not a prophet, and I'm certainly not a fortune teller, but I will predict, and like I said about Aaron O'Toole, that for his inactivity and his flip flopping as leader of the Progressive Party, he would get booted out, and he did. And the same thing that if you're watching this and you really want to help this country, what you want to do is go to www.josephbourgault.ca. That's Bourgault, josephbourgault.ca, and print off a voting sheet that you fill out and send in to vote for him. But before you do, join the Conservative Party of Canada. Before April 1st, it's cost you $15, and anybody 14 years of age and up can join. So sit with your kids and your family and talk about it, and then get involved. Because Joseph Bourgault is probably one of the most honest, selfless individuals I've ever met. He was in Ottawa with us with the drug convoy, and he played an intricate part in helping the operations run smoothly. He was amazing. Him and and Ryan Olson, who is now his campaign manager, were amazing human beings. And go on www.josephbourgault.ca and check out his videos and listen to his solutions to situations that are facing us. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of honor. And trust me, you don't have to join the Conservative Party and become a conservative follower, though you just might with Joe at the helm. If Joe takes the leadership of the Conservative Party, there's going to be many a person who have left who's going to come back. Many will come back when they see the program he has. And he will draw up the best that's in the Conservative Party, like Bob Zimmer, who I really, really admire. Though I'll ask them all the same question. Where were you guys 2 years ago when this all started? Where were you the day that the RCMP and the OPP jackbooted everybody out of Ottawa? Where were they? Why weren't they standing in line arm in arm to stop the police from doing what they did, breaking up a peaceful protest? As far as trucking, I'm a truck driver. I've got over 2.5 million miles. I was spokesman for the largest truck blockade and protest in Ottawa and across Canada in 1989, 1991, basically through that time period, up until Ottawa. Did Ottawa achieve what we wanted it to? No, it did not achieve it. It did not get the mandates all dropped. However, what it did achieve, it brought Canadians together from every walk of life. It's been mentioned several times. The Quebec and Ontario, or French and English speaking truck drivers and veterans and citizens hugged and became best friends. A bond has been formed between citizens and truck drivers and all across the country, the West and the East, that'll never be broken. So if I was a member of the World Economic Forum, I'd be making my escape plans sooner than later. I'd be planning on going someplace and taking your money with you. And like I say, we'll provide airplanes on the tarmac with a 72-hour notice, and you'll be given time to go on board those planes. And where you go, that's you can flip a coin when you get on the plane, right? But you are going to leave. My father couldn't read or write, and he worked in the coal mines down underground on the shore in the island of Cape Breton. And I saw what it was like for a man to come out of the mine with a broken back and finger missing and busted knees at different times, and yet he'd still go back down in the mines as soon as he could to put food on the table for his families. Well, I'm cut from that same cloth, just so you know. And many of the truck drivers are cut from the same cloth. So you've stirred up a hornet's nest here. We're not going away. Matter of fact, we're getting stronger by the minute. And the mistake the banks made was foolish to freeze accounts. That was really foolish. And now that the Liberals are using the Canada Revenue Agency to put pressure on people that owe any money at all to get revenue, is another sign that you've completely lost control. You're doing what your father used to do. And that had a Royal Commission back then. It's called Revenue Canada. There was a Royal Commission called to investigate the Revenue Canada, and it changed quite a bit. And we're going to do the same thing to you. We're going to call a Royal Commission, and those people that are chasing people and putting pressure on people, even though they had cut deals with them and agreements with them, they broke the agreements and putting pressure on them, they too are going to be brought in front of a tribunal and dealt with. They'll be looking for jobs and new careers. Yeah, so that's about it. Summertime's coming, the warm weather's coming in. Like I say, we're not going away. We're going to educate the Canadian public with love and patience, and we're going to help people that need to be woke up. We're going to help them wake up, and we're going to help them have vision, and we're going to help them see a future for themselves that they look forward to. All right. So, hey, I don't know if this is going to go through or not. If it does, great. If it doesn't, hey.